She was kneeling on the floor of the command post, sleeves rolled up, a thin streak of grease across her cheek as she tightened the final screw inside the battered field radio. The room around her buzzed with low chatter and impatient footsteps. Most of the soldiers hardly noticed her. Those who did dismissed her the same way they always had, the quiet radio tech, the one who blended into the background. But today, someone important was arriving. And no one expected that the first person he'd acknowledge was the lone woman fixing wires on the floor. They hadn't realized who she really was. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. Alina Morales kept her focus on the loose circuit, her fingers steady despite the tension in the room. She had learned long ago to ignore whispers, but today they cut sharper than usual. She's still working on that thing. How slow can one person be? Hope the captain doesn't see her messing up the place. She inhaled deeply, letting their words drift past her. They didn't know that she had served longer than most of them had been alive. They didn't know the missions she'd survived, the people she'd lost. She tucked the final wire into place, and for a moment the hum of the room dimmed. A faint crackle burst through the radio speakers, then a clear tone. It worked. Relief washed over her, soft and quiet. But she never got the chance to stand before the doors swung open. Dust rose from the floor as boots stormed inside. Straight backs, hardened faces, presence that forced the air itself to shift. A SEAL team entered first, moving like a single entity fluid, synchronized, disciplined. And behind them stepped Captain Adrian Locke, a man whose reputation preceded him like a shadow. He scanned the room once, and then his eyes locked onto the woman crouched on the floor. For a heartbeat, everything stilled. Lena felt the shift immediately, not a hostile one, but something deeper. Recognition, and something that looked unsettlingly close to respect. The murmurs in the room rose like a tide. Why is he looking at her? She's just a tech, right? Did she mess something up? She slowly pushed herself up, brushing the dust from her knees. The captain took one step forward, then another. And then, before the room could comprehend what they were seeing, he brought his hand sharply to his brow in a crisp, precise salute. A salute. To her, the whispers died instantly. Elena's breath caught in her chest. She hadn't seen him in 6 years. She thought she'd never see him again. She was wrong. Captain Locke's voice carried across the room, warm and certain. Good to see you again, Commander Morales. Gasps erupted. A tool clattered to the floor. Someone's clipboard slipped from their hand. Commander, the soldiers who had mocked her turned pale. In that moment, Alina felt the weight of years settle and dissolve, years of hiding her rank to recover from an injury, years of choosing a quieter post to calm the storms inside her, years of letting people underestimate her because it was easier than explaining the pain she carried. Her voice trembled just slightly as she returned the salute. Captain Locke. The SEALs behind him shifted, their expressions respectful, almost reverent. They knew exactly who she was, the woman whose intel had saved an entire SEAL squad during a covert rescue in a desert valley. The woman who had pulled Locke himself from collapsing rubble after an explosion. The woman rumored to have once led operations so classified they had no official record. But the young soldiers around her, they had treated her like a nobody. Locke lowered his hand and stepped closer. I heard you were here. Didn't believe it until I saw you. His voice softened. I never forgot. Her chest tightened. She remembered the mission too, the fire, the screaming, the impossible decision she'd had to make. She had saved Locke, but she hadn't been able to save everyone. That guilt still lived in her bones. He saw the flicker in her eyes. Wasn't your fault, he murmured, barely audible to anyone else. You did what no one else could have. A moral weight settled in the room, thick and still. The younger troops, suddenly ashamed, glanced at one another. Some swallowed hard. One stepped forward. Commander, Lena looked at them. Really looked at them. Really looked. The arrogance had drained away, leaving only fear and regret. She had a choice. She could shame them. She could let them drown in embarrassment. Instead, she took a breath. It's not rank that makes someone worthy, she said quietly. It's how they treat people before they know who they're speaking to. Silence. Heavy. Transformative. Locke turned to his team, nodding toward the newly repaired radio. This is why she's the best, he said. She fixes what others abandon. Heat flushed Elena's cheeks, but she held her composure. The room seemed brighter now, lighter somehow. A ripple of applause stirred hesitant at first, then growing with warmth and sincerity. Even the soldiers who had doubted her clapped, their faces open and humbled. For the first time in a long while, Elena felt something like peace. Locke stood beside her, not overshadowing her, but standing with her, shoulder to shoulder. "If you ever want your old position back," he said quietly, "the door is open." She smiled, not a loud smile, but one filled with the gentle strength she had earned through years of surviving storms. "Maybe one day," she replied. "For now, this is where I'm needed." The applause softened into a stillness filled with respect. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. And as the dust settled on the command post floor, where she had knelt moments before, Lena realized something. Sometimes the smallest spaces revealed the largest truths. Thank you for listening to today's story. If it moved you, leave a comment and subscribe to Whispered Words for more stories of courage, humility, and unexpected strength. Don't forget your next favorite story is just one click away.